Good morning, dear friends, and welcome in this class of Indian Constitution and Polity. And I, Dr. Manjesh Kumar, will again discuss with you Indian Constitution and Polity in the most integrated, in the most holistic, but yes. So let us begin with today's topic, that is preamble. Let me check your comments and let me see whether everything is fine or not. So there are many comments. So Ashish, hello. Arpana is writing, internet नहीं चलता है कैसे पढ़ें, but internet is very essential thing. You have to change your connection. Kartikeya, good morning. Kartikeya has one doubt. Preparing for 2022, when to start reading newspaper? It is the right time. Start reading newspaper. Start watching Rajya Sabha television time. Then Amit Rajkumar, good morning. Sarabjit, Vikas, Jai Hind to all. Yes, class has started. Karan, Hemant, good morning. Abhishek, good morning. Diksha, good morning. Pratichi, good morning. Ashu, Miss Saini, good morning. Very good morning. Amit, Ravi, good morning to all. Pratush, Pratyush, Akhilesh, good morning to all. Fastly people are writing. Kuldeep, Ritesh, Amit, Aman, Ravi, Manas, good morning to all. Riya, Anis, Uttam, Siddharth, good morning to all. Please come to the point. Yes. I have just come to. So good morning to all. And now let us start with the topic. So there are many students, and just wait for 30-40 seconds and then I will directly come to the. Yes, good morning. So now combined good morning to all. And Rajya Sabha TV, yes, it is necessary, it is mandatory. You must see Rajya Sabha TV, that covers the current issues. So now I am for 10-15 minutes I am ignoring the comments. तो अगले मैं comments को ignore कर रहा हूँ. Again finally collectively good morning to all, सबको राम राम. And now let us start today with the fresh topic. So in the last class we had a general discussion on how to prepare Indian Constitution and polity and certain basic things like what is part, what is chapter, what is article and those things. So from today, let us begin with the syllabus. So since from today we are starting the syllabus, so with some vote, with some resolution that each and every word of the syllabus of Indian Constitution and polity this. And how this shall be proven? When the last class takes place, remember this is the first day when I am promising this, and this I have to take care of at the last. So remember this, what I am saying today. In the last class, we will have here the syllabus. You will also have the syllabus. And I will keep on pointing, this is done, this is done, this is done, and word to word I will match the syllabus. So not even a single word I am going to leave. This is my promise. Maybe that constitutional development that will be covered under history, but whatever is Indian Constitution and polity, governance, working of IR, I will be responsible for Indian Constitution and polity. Word to word we will be discussing. Each topic we will be discussing, and we will be discussing in the most elaborative way. We will, as I told you last day, not only Indian Constitution, but we will be discussing Indian Constitution and polity. So let us start today with the topic preamble. Preamble of Indian Constitution, or preamble to the Constitution of India. So today we are started with the first topic, and we will try to understand each and every word of the preamble. We will try to link the current issues also to the concept of preamble, but let's begin from zero. Let us start from zero. So we will look into all those issues, whether preamble of Indian Constitution or not, whether preamble is amendable or not, what are the criticisms of preamble, what is the significance of preamble, what is the meaning of the word sovereign, socialist, democratic, what are the issues involved with this, what is the meaning of justice, liberty, equality, everything. But in the beginning, let us start with meaning of preamble. If somebody asks you, what does the word preamble mean? What is the meaning of preamble? Just write in one line the definition of preamble, write down. Preamble is like an introduction. Preamble is like an introduction or preface. Preamble is like an introduction or preface to the Constitution. Preamble is like an introduction or preface to the Constitution, which includes the ideals and objectives of Constitution. Preamble is like an introduction or preface to the Constitution, which includes ideals and objectives of the Constitution, comma, nature of governing authority, ideals and objectives of constitution, then nature of governing authority, and date of enactment of constitution. Date of enactment constitution. That means here we are not talking of the preamble of Indian constitution anywhere. That means if you go to interview and there a question comes, what is preamble? You know everything about preamble, but of the preamble they just ask the simple question, tell me what does preamble mean? What is the meaning of a preamble? So it is not applicable to Indian constitution only, anywhere. What is in political science? What is in constitutional law? The meaning of the word preamble. So how we can define preamble? We can define preamble as that preamble is like an introduction or so first of all, as we have introduction or preface in a book, similarly we have a preamble in the written constitution. So preamble is the characteristic, preamble is the feature of a written constitution only. Constitutions like British constitution doesn't have a preamble. Unwritten constitution means a constitution which is based on tradition, maxims. So written constitutions have preamble like American constitution, like Indian constitution, and preamble plays same role to the written constitution as is played by an introduction to a book. So what does the introduction contain within itself? So if you read the introduction of any good book, then first of all, the author mentions why this book has been written. So that in writing one good book, it takes decades. It may take 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It takes 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. So first of all, the author will tell you the reason, the objective. So what changes does he want to bring by writing this book? So introduction, first of all, introduction of the book tells you about the objective, why this book has been written. Then secondly, the introduction of the book tells you about the brief content of the book. So in introduction, the author will say that chapter 1 talks of this, chapter 2, chapter 3, etc. And finally, the author and writes the date. And therefore, always remember that in good books, it is a tradition that introduction is to be written at the end, last. When the book is completed, then introduction is written. So as there is an introduction to a book, similarly, preamble plays a role as far as a written constitution is concerned, and therefore preamble is defined as an introduction or preface to a written constitution which deals with, first of all, the ideals and objectives of the constitution. That means preamble will include ideals and objectives, like we will see when our to our Indian constitution. So it would talk of freedom, equality, justice, fraternity, dignity of India. So what are the ideals? Then secondly, nature of governing authority. You know that constitution is a document of governance. Through constitution, a country is governed. So what is the major subject matter of constitution? Governance, how the country is to be governed. And therefore, the preamble also mentions nature of governance or nature of governing authority. For example, our preamble would say that is secular democratic republic. So what shall be the nature of governing authority? Democratic. What shall be the nature of governing authority? Republic. What shall be the nature of governing authority? Secular. The preamble contains the date of enactment of the constitution. Which date the constitution is enacted or enforced or implemented, that is mentioned in the preamble. So if somebody asks you what is a preamble, you have to give this definition. Preamble is like an introduction or preface which contains the ideals and objectives of the constitution, nature of governing authority, and enactment, date of enactment of the constitution. So this is the most basic thing. What is a preamble? And remember, in every class I will start from zero, because I consider that the students here are of different types. Somebody might be an MA or postgraduate in political science, maybe MPhil, maybe PhD like me, and somebody may be a commerce graduate, even somebody may be +2 students. So that will contain things for all. We will go at the top also, but we will begin from. So first we saw what does the preamble mean. Now let us see what is the source of our preamble. That means from where the preamble has come. So you have to write down on 13th December 1946. Write down the certain facts related to preamble. On 13th December 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru, not Motilal, they are Indian history, so it was Jawaharlal, the first prime minister, who later became the first prime minister. On 13th December 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru and you know Nehru was a member of Constituent Assembly. So Jawaharlal Nehru proposed objective resolution in the Constituent Assembly. Let us see from where the preamble comes. So for this, one fact is to be remembered. On 13th December 1946, Jawaharlal proposed objective resolution in the Constituent Assembly, and this objective resolution was passed by the Constituent 22nd January 1947. On 13th December 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru, who was a prominent member of Constituent Assembly, he proposed a resolution. That resolution is called objective resolution, and Constituent Assembly passed this or accepted this on 22nd January 1947. So these two dates are important, and this objective resolution later on became the preamble of our Constitution. This objective resolution became the preamble. That means when you know that our Constituent Assembly constituted in December 1946, the first meeting took place on 9th December 46, then second meeting 11th December 1946, and third meeting was 13th December 1946. So in the third meeting, when the actual working of the Constituent Assembly started, because in the first and second meetings only the officials etc. were elected. So when the actual functioning started, then Nehru, who was one of the prominent of Constituent Assembly, Nehru raised a question. Nehru said that we have assembled here to frame a constitution for this country. We have assembled here to frame a constitution for this country. Therefore, before starting, decide what ideals, what objectives we actually want to achieve by framing this constitution. So a very valid question was raised, that you are going to frame a constitution, you are going to make provision for president, prime minister, all those institutions. But before that, let us first decide that what is the objective of framing a constitution for this country. Why do we need a constitution? What is the ideal that we want to realize for this country? And then Nehru, from his own side, put or proposed a resolution. And this is called objective resolution. Why this is called objective resolution? Because it actually contains the objectives of the Constitution, ideals of the Constitution. So fraternity, justice, all have in the preamble. So Nehru proposed from his own side that I propose this objective resolution, this should be the objective of framing this Constitution. That was debated in the Constituent Assembly, and on 22nd January, with some minor amendments, only with some minor amendments, by and large, this objective resolution was accepted by the Constituent Assembly. So through this objective resolution, the ideals of our Constitution were decided. Now a question came, where this objective resolution is to be placed in the Constitution, where this objective resolution is to be put. Then decided that actually it is like the preamble, because preamble also contains ideals and objectives, and this objective resolution is also containing the ideals and objective. So this was accepted as preamble. Now here 2-3 questions may be asked in the exam. So let us see what type of questions may be here asked. First of all, if a question comes, the preamble to the Constitution of India is the brainchild of, or the father of the preamble of Indian Constitution is Nehru, Ambedkar, Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Patel. So first of all, when individual's name comes, whose name you have to mention? Nehru. If the name of person is asked, that who is, the preamble is brainchild, contribution of which great person? So it is not Rajendra Prasad. It is not even B.R. Jawaharlal Nehru. Why? Because this objective resolutions were put by Nehru. So first, person, if in the question you have name of the person, then Nehru. Then second question may be, from which country? From which country the concept of preamble has been taken? As we know, fundamental rights taken from America, directive principles taken from Ireland. So similarly, if a question comes from which country the concept of preamble has been taken, so then our answer would be USA, United States of America. Why? Because Americans were the first in this world to frame a written constitution. Do remember this fact also. The oldest constitution of modern world is British Constitution. But British Constitution unwritten means there was no Constituent Assembly framed in Britain. Traditions and traditions, political maxims, they developed called the Constitution. So there is nothing like a written codified document in Britain. But Americans got independence from British in 1776 American Revolution. And then they framed a constitution. A constituent assembly was set. And this constituent assembly framed the Constitution of the United States of America. So first written constitution was framed by the Americans. And therefore, when the American Constituent Assembly framed the Constitution of America, which was written, then they put a preamble also. So first of all, which constitution included preamble? Then America. So if a question comes from where the concept of preamble has been taken, so our answer would be America. But a third question also can be asked. From which country? And this you have to, ये मैं question पूछ रहा हूं आपसे. You have to reply in the comment box. मैं थोड़ा सा comment box सामने ले आऊं. Now you have to reply answer. Third question. So first two questions I told you. The person Nehru, country USA, from which state or from which country? The language, the word is language. If in the exam, prelims exam comes the word language. From which country's preamble? The language of our preamble is influenced. हमारे प्रस्तावना की भाषा, language, किस देश की प्रस्तावना से मिलती है? From which country? And you have to tell me. Yes, Gulshan Nanda has given the right answer. Some others, right answer I will not do, but some are answering France, Britain, Australia, Russia, USA. France, Britain, Russia, USA. Just answer. USA. So various answers. Now you see, again I can see Australia, USA, Britain, Irish, Britain, USA, Europe. Europe is not a country. Germany. So almost most of the countries mentioned. But you know, answer would be only one. So what is the correct answer? Australia. So whenever you have the word language, the language of our preamble is influenced. The language, keyword here is language. So from where the language is, it is Australia. Remember two things. From where the concept, why? Because everywhere in the world, the concept of preamble went from to frame a written constitution to, but our preamble has more similarity from Australian preamble because language is influenced from there. So here correct answer would be Australia. So this is just the basic, just the beginning of the word. Now, beginning of the concept of preamble. So here we saw two things. What is preamble in a written? Please remember the characteristic of a written constitution only. And secondly, we saw that from where this preamble comes. So it comes from objective resolution. This also may be a question, and this has been a question in UPSC. From where? From which resolution? The preamble owes its genesis. In which? So we would say objective resolution. When passed, everything you have. Now let us come to describing each and every word of our preamble. Try to describe each and every word of our preamble and all the debates related to this and all the issues also. But before that, it would be better to go through this preamble. So this is the preamble. I am reading it out for you, and you have also to read it at your own place. So let us see what is preamble. What is actually the preamble of Indian Constitution? Let us see words. We, the people of India. It begins with these words. We, the people of India. Then says, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign. First important word is sovereign. Socialist, secular, democratic republic. That means these five words are basically the nature of governing authority. So we, the people of India, want to constitute India a state, a secular state, a democratic state, and a republican state. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So these five words are nature of governing authority. And to citizens, and we want to secure something. Secure means what we want to achieve. And to secure to citizens, what is the first ideal? Justice. So what is the first ideal and objective? If a question comes, what is the first ideal and objective of preamble? Justice. And there are three forms of justice. Justice, social, economic, and political. Do remember it in the same series. Social, economic, and political. So three forms of justice. Later we are going to discuss everything. But just I am giving you the basic idea of this preamble. What are the important words and concepts? So first ideal is justice and three forms of justice. Social, economic, and political. Then second ideal is liberty. And five forms of liberty. Liberty of thought, expression is the second. Liberty of belief, that is third. Faith and worship. So first ideal is justice, three types. Second ideal is liberty, five types. Thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Then third ideal is equality. See here the third ideal, equality. equality of two types: status and opportunity. So later we will see what is the difference between each and every word I am going to explain. Don't worry. Just I am making you acquainted with the words of the preamble. So first ideal was justice, second is liberty, and third is equality. Equality of two types: equality of status, this is the first form, and equality of opportunity, that is the second form. And to promote among them all fraternity. So what is the next ideal? Fraternity. We will see what is the meaning of fraternity, but fraternity is one ideal. Assuring the dignity of individual. So what is the next ideal? To assure dignity of individual. So later we will see what is dignity, but what is the word here? Dignity of individual is another ideal. And the unity and integrity, again the ideal is unity and integrity. Unity and integrity is another of the nation in our Constituent Assembly. This 26th day, remember, 26th day of November 1949. That means 26th November 1949. Do hereby adopt, what are the ending words? We adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. And that means constitution was adopted 26th November. When it was enacted, 26th November. And when it was given to this country, 26th November 1949. Therefore, 26th November is celebrated as Constitution Day in India. This question was asked in BPSC, not this time, but 2-3 years back. If you see that which day is celebrated as Constitution Day, Samvidhan Divas. So Constitution Day is 26th November. Why? Because Constitution was adopted, enacted, and given to this country. Now, two questions, two confusions there may be in the question paper. If a question comes, when the Constitution of India was framed, when it was completed, then answer will be 26th November 1949. But if a question comes, when the Constitution of India was enacted, then our answer would be 26th January 1950. लागू कब हुआ? 26th January 1950. But यहाँ तो enact word भी है. So do remember that few provisions were enacted. Few provisions were enacted on 26th November. But major part of the Constitution was enacted in January. If somebody asks you in interview why this, if you see America or any other country who framed the written Constitution, the day Constitution is adopted, same day it is enacted 100%. Or whole Constitution is enacted, the day it is adopted, it is enacted also. But in our country, we adopted on 26th November and we enacted only few parts, few things on that day, and whole of the Constitution was enacted 2 months later. Remember, 26th November and 26th January. So if somebody asks why it was not enacted completely, totally, on 26th November 1949 itself, like Americans did, why we did not do this? So there is a very interesting thing, and this time BPSC, I think last week or 10 days before, the BPSC prelims exam took place, somehow there was a question on this. So let us see, sometimes interesting facts are also asked as question. And remember, Hindi medium students जो भी होंगे, so कितनी बार ये discuss कई फोरम पे कि why 26th January? Why not 26th November? So remember, historical fact is responsible for this. In the 1929 session of Indian National Congress, which was held in Lahore, remember the Ravi River, on the banks of the river Ravi. So we all know that in 1929 session of Congress that was held in Lahore. And who was the president of Congress in 1929 session? Jawaharlal. So under the presidency of Nehru, in 1929 Lahore session, Indian National Congress adopted resolution of Swaraj. So asked in prelims. Resolution was adopted by Congress. It was 1929 session. Obviously, Congress session took place in December generally. So, December 1929, they resolved to get Purna Swaraj. What is Purna Swaraj? Complete independence. And Congress also decided in 1929 Lahore session that now onwards, all our to get Purna Swaraj for India, complete independence for India, Purna Swaraj. Demand of Purna Swaraj shall be popularized. We shall reach to people. We shall convince them that we want nothing less than Purna Swaraj. We want complete independence for this country. People also have to know this. And therefore, to make people, in 1929 Lahore session, Congress decided that from now onwards, that means from 1930 onwards, every year, 26th January, remember what was the date? 26th January. every year 26th January shall be celebrated as Purna Swaraj Divas, Complete Independence Day. And first Purna Swaraj Divas, Complete Independence Day, was celebrated on 26th January 1930. And after that year, on 26th January, Congress used to celebrate or Complete Independence Day every year on 26th January. So 26th January in this way, very historic day in India, historic significance, when every year we were celebrating Swaraj Day, Purna Swaraj Divas. But we got independence on 15th August. There is another story why we were given 15th August also, that I will tell you some other day. Why Lord Mountbatten, but independence on 15th August. And the day was 26th January as the historic. So therefore, to recognize this day, we decided that though the constitution has been framed on 26th November, few provisions shall be enacted today, 26th November, so that the tradition goes on. But the major portion of the constitution shall be enacted on 26th January, and there was a gap of 2 months only. So they decided that 2 months later, that means from 26th January, the constitution shall be applicable. So that is the reason why our constitution was enacted on 26th January. And why not on 26th November? Though the framing work was completed on 26th November, so it was adopted on 26th November, but it was completely enacted on 26th January, though some portions of the constitution were enacted on 26th November itself. So anyway, on this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. Again, I am reading it so that it gets a place in your mind. तो मैं इसको फिर से एक बार पढ़ता हूँ, then I will be explaining each and every word. So again I am reading, let us see it. We the people of India. So the beginning words are we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, nature of governing authority, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, 5 words. So nature of government. So these 5 concepts we have to understand. What is the meaning of republic, democracy, all those. And to secure to all its citizens, now comes the ideals, justice, 3 forms, social, economic and political. Second ideal is liberty, 5 forms, thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. Third ideal is equality, 2 forms, status and opportunity. Fourth ideal is fraternity. Fifth ideal is dignity of individual. Sixth and seventh ideal are unity and integrity. And finally, in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, and what are the last word? Do hereby and give to ourselves. This is the preamble. Now let us discuss each and every word of this preamble. What is the meaning of unity? What is the difference between unity and integrity? What is the difference between thought and expression? What is the difference between faith and worship? What is equality of status? What is equality of opportunity? What is sovereign? To what extent India is sovereign? All those issues. Whether preamble is a part of constitution, whether preamble can be amended, everything that is possible, we are going to discuss here. So here we had a general reading of the preamble. Now let us start discussing the preamble. If we are to describe the preamble in exam, so we have to go by this format. We have to go by this format. That means if you see the preamble to our constitution, so there are various words. But if somebody says that give a brief description of the preamble of India, so don't go word to word. That is a bookish thing. We will make a chart, and we will make a chart which includes each important word. So we may say that description of the preamble and preamble to the Constitution of India talks of 3 things. Let me do it by hand, तो ज़्यादा आपको अच्छा लगेगा. Now we are discussing what it contains. So preamble contains 3 things. Now this is not mentioned in the preamble, remember, but we are making it systematic. If we are to discuss preamble, if we are to understand preamble, then we may say that preamble to the Constitution of India has 3 components. And write down, you have to make this chart, 3 components. First of all, preamble talks of source of authority. तो इसी तरह चार्ट बनाना कि preamble सबसे पहले कहता है what is the source of authority. First of all, the preamble talks of source of authority. Second, preamble talks of nature of authority. What shall be the nature of authority? Side by side you have to write this. Source of authority, nature of authority. And third thing, preamble talks of objectives of authority. And within these 3 headings, we can classify each and every preamble. First of authority, what is the source of authority. Second, it talks of what is the nature of authority. And thirdly, preamble talks of what is the objective of authority. That means if sometimes Narendra Das, Damodar Das, Modi gets confused, from where I owe my power, what is the source of my power, he must go through the preamble, then he will understand what is the source of his authority. Secondly, if he gets confused, what type of India I have to create, what is the nature of authority, what type of India I have to create, then preamble will help. He must read, then he will come to know this India I have been given the duty to create. And thirdly, what is the objective? What is the objective of myself being India? Why I have taken the charge as the Prime Minister? What is the objective? So three things the preamble talks of. Source of authority, nature of authority, objective of authority. Anupam is writing something. I think server has some glitch. It's buffering after every 7 to 10 seconds. Even I am in full network area. So I don't think there is a buffering. And on my mobile, everything is fine. Is it buffering? Because in my mobile and my system, everything is showing fine. Is it buffering? Tell me. Buffering हो रही है क्या कुछ प्रॉब्लम? टेल मी. आप कमेंट लिख के बताओ. एवरीथिंग ओके, वर्किंग प्रॉपरली. सो अनुपम, इट इज आई थिंक योर नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज ऑल आर राइटिंग एवरीथिंग इज फाइन एंड माई लैपटॉप ऑल्सो एवरीथिंग इज शोइंग fine. So yes, Aditi has suggested one remedy: shut the app and try again. So you can shut the app and try again. So it may be. So all fine, working properly. Yes. So everything is okay. So you have to check your network. You have to check your network. Everything is fine. Yes, I got your message. Everything is fine from everybody. Authority here means those who are ruling the country. What is the source of their power? Each and every word of preamble. So now let us begin with this. Give a heading: source of authority. Source of authority. या इसी में चार्ट बना लेते हैं. सोर्स ऑफ अथॉरिटी इज पीपल. सोर्स ऑफ अथॉरिटी अकॉर्डिंग टू प्रियम्बल इज पीपल. नेचर ऑफ अथॉरिटी, राइट दोज 5 वर्ड्स: सॉवरेन, सोशलिस्ट. नेचर ऑफ अथॉरिटी 5 वर्ड्स: सॉवरेन, सोशलिस्ट, सेकुलर. सॉवरेन, सोशलिस्ट, सेकुलर, डेमोक्रेटिक एंड रिपब्लिक. Remember the 5 words, and each 5 words we have to understand, we have to discuss, and issues also to what extent India is a socialist country now in the light of new economic policy. What is the nature of secularism? What is parliamentary democracy? All issues we are going to cover, but source of authority, people. Here also there are debates that we are going to cover, but just I am making a synopsis of the topic. Source of authority, people. Nature of authority: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. 5 words. And objective of authority: first is justice. Remember, I went through the preamble. Second is liberty. Third is equality. Fourth is dignity of individual. Fifth is fraternity. And last, unity and integrity. That means this much words we have to understand. Then the discussion on preamble will be complete. So what is source of, what is nature of authority? 5 words: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. So each word we have to understand, we have to discuss, and the issues attached to constitution and polity. And objective of authority: first objective, first ideal is justice. What is the second objective? Liberty. Third objective is equality. Fourth objective is dignity of individual. Fifth objective is fraternity, and sixth objective is unity. So those who are having buffering problem, थोड़ा सा आप अपना इंटरनेट कीजिए, because here 90% of the students are saying that there is no buffering. So of course this is the problem from your side, because my mobile is also showing. Again I can see it. It is showing that is yes, everything is fine. Network is working finely. Green signal is going on. So Deepak and all 2 students are talking buffering. So I think these 2 you have a problem in your network. Kindly check it. So this chart you must make, and you must try to get it. That means you must put it somewhere, kahin chipka do, so that you know these are the important words of the preamble. So first, source of authority, people. Nature of authority: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. And objective of authority: justice, liberty, equality, dignity of individual, fraternity and unity and integrity. Now let us discuss each and everything. So first, give the heading: source of authority, and debate attached with this. So first I just made the synopsis कि एग्जाम में कभी टाइम नहीं है. So we cannot write the whole preamble, and it would not be that just vomit the preamble. We the people of India having solemnly resolved. So that is not the nice way. Nice way of presentation is that this is preamble. This is the crux of preamble. Now let us discuss each and every issue. Give the heading source of authority. Source of authority. Source of authority. Authority. So if you say source of authority according to the preamble is people, and this is called popular sovereignty. So one question may be asked from here, that the notion of popular sovereignty, every word will be clear, but थोड़ा सा facts पहले लिख लेते हैं. Source of authority according to preamble is people. That from where the authority, from where the power flows. It flows from the people. Who are the supreme powerful in India? People of India. So source of authority is people, and this notion is called popular sovereignty. Mohit is writing, tell them watch live stream in delay of 10 seconds. So you can see live stream in delay of 10 seconds. So then it will be fine. Otherwise there is no buffering. I can see in my mobile also everything is quite fine. Source of authority, and for 10-20 seconds I think I should remove the comments, so that now we are going to discuss very, very important things. We must focus here. Source of authority. There may be a full question from here. Let us see what. First of all, source of authority is people, and this is called popular sovereignty. Related to people, sovereignty means supremacy. So our constitution declares through its preamble that people are the source of authority, and this is popular sovereignty. Now this whole notion of popular sovereignty has been formulated by a French philosopher. This question also may be asked, that this popular sovereignty is the influence of which philosopher? Philosopher Rousseau. It is pronounced as Rousseau but written as R-O-U-S-S-E-A-U. But how you would pronounce it? Rousseau. French names are different. There is a French philosopher, and this is the spelling B-O-D-I-N, and before that J-E-N. So what generally we will pronounce Jean Bodin, but it is not Jean Bodin. This is not English. French को translate किया. So here in French this will be pronounced as Jean, and this will be pronounced as Baudin. So what is the actual pronunciation of this philosopher? Jean Baudin. Similarly here it is Rousseau written, but it is not Rousseau. In interview anywhere you will pronounce it as Rousseau. So French philosopher Rousseau gave the concept of popular sovereignty, and one may say that the framers of our constitution owe this genesis of popular sovereignty from French philosopher Rousseau. So this may be one of the questions. French philosopher Rousseau, let us see what was Rousseau saying. Rousseau gave one statement, vox populi, vox God. Vox populi. Vox means voice. In English the word vox means voice. French word vox. Populi means people. Vox again voice and God. That means this is world famous statement of Rousseau. कभी ऐसे में आ सकता है, लिख सकते हो प्री में. Voice of people is voice of God. This concept was given by French philosopher Rousseau. What is his concept? Vox populi, vox God. Vox means voice, populi means people. So voice of people is voice of God. So what people are saying, that is not less than God. And this line is considered to be the source of the notion of popular sovereignty. So first of all, preamble to the Constitution of preamble to the Indian Constitution says that source of authority lies in the people of India. And in political science, this notion that source of authority lies in the people is called popular sovereignty. The concept of popular sovereignty has been formulated by French philosopher Rousseau. Rousseau had declared, vox populi vox, voice of the people is voice of God. So this is first thing, that from where we have this. Now in the same point, the question comes that nowhere the word popular sovereignty is mentioned in the preamble. Remember we went through the whole preamble. Nowhere you found this expression directly, that people are supreme. Nowhere it is written, we the people of India having solemnly resolved. Nowhere it is written that authority flows from the people. Nowhere it is written that people are the source of authority. Then how we can conclude? How we can conclude that source of authority lies in the people? So there may be a question here, that why it is said that according to preamble people are supreme in India. Why? Because nowhere it is written. So why? Let us see why. Why popular sovereignty in the preamble? Because we must say that directly the word popular sovereignty is not mentioned. There is nowhere written in the preamble that people are supreme or people are sovereign. It is written nowhere in the preamble. But still, people are supreme. Why? We would say sovereign, etc. Everything will be clear. Just wait. Sovereign means supreme. Supreme. Sovereign means supreme. Master. So sovereignty means people are next. And what is the technique? वो तो आता ही. Who is more supreme for constitution? People. Because constitution itself declare that people are supreme, not the voter. अभी आगे हमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट के कई रूलिंग्स पढ़ने उसमें आएगा कि वोटर्स आर नॉट सुप्रीम बट पीपल आर सुप्रीम. So whatever mandate is given through election, that is not the, but people as a whole are supreme. So if in question comes who is supreme, and we have two options, constitution and people, then finally you have to tick people. If it is voter, then no, then constitution. And if there is no option as people, then constitution. But final supremacy is vested in the people. Why? Because constitution itself says this. Now from where? From where it can be concluded that people are supreme? कहीं लिखा हुआ तो है नहीं. How can you conclude? So what shall be our argument? We will say that yes, directly, nowhere it is mentioned in the constitution that people are supreme, but the preamble begins with the words we the people, and hope you remember we the people of India. So these are the beginning words, we the people of India, and then resolve to secular XYZ. And what are the last words on this day? Three words: enact and give to ourselves this constitution. Remember, the starting words are what? Side by side you can write. So wherever dictation is needed, I will dictate also. Full question I will be dictating, but everything cannot be dictated, remember. And if everything I keep on dictating, then that will be a boring class. मैं भी चेयर पे बैठ जाऊंगा, कहूंगा लिखो, so मजा नहीं आएगा. So side by side you have to keep on writing. And wherever a full question comes, a full concept, the definition of sovereign, socialist, whatever is, that I will fully dictate. But here, side by side, you can write also. So why popular sovereignty? We will say directly not mentioned. The word not found. But the preamble begins with the word we the people of India. And the preamble ends with the words adopt, enact. What is the meaning of these three words? Adopt, enact, and give to ourselves. And this clearly shows that our preamble owes the genesis of authority from people. So adopt means to accept. Who has accepted this constitution? We the people of India adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. So who has adopted this constitution? The people of India. Who has accepted this constitution? People. That means the constituent assembly themselves are saying that we are only the via media. We are only the means. Actually, the adopting authority is people. So first we will say, let us see the word adopt. So we the people of India adopt this constitution, accept this constitution. That means who is accepting this constitution? People of India. Popular sovereignty. Secondly, enact. Who is enacting? Who is enforcing this constitution of India? This constitution. So of course, it is being enacted by the people of India. This is also popular sovereignty. And give to ourselves. Give to ourselves means to hand over to this country, hand over to the thousands of comings of future generations. Who is giving this constitution to this country? People of India. And these three words clearly reveal that directly it has not been mentioned that people are the source of authority, but since the preamble begins with the word we the people of India and it ends with the words adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution, it clearly means that the constitution has been adopted by the people of India, has been enacted by the people of India, and constitution has been given to this country by the people of India. And this clearly indicates towards the popular sovereignty. So what is the first connotation of preamble? That preamble mentions that the source of authority lies in the people. Who is supreme in this country? People. Now again here a question comes, who is supreme? Parliament, judiciary, constitution? None of the parliament, judiciary, constitution, and president. Then our answer would be constitution, because people is not mentioned. So among all the institutions, constitution is supreme. But if question comes like this, who is supreme in India? President, parliament, constitution, people. Then if we have to choose between constitution and people, then we will choose the option people. Why? Because constitution itself says constitution is adopted by the people. So जो adopt करने वाला है वो चीज Rasgulla is important or me? Me. Similarly, the people of India. People of India is adopting this document. So this document is nothing if people of India do not accept it. This document is nothing if people of India do not enact it. Had it not been enacted, then that was only a piece of paper. If people and constitution comes, then what will be the right answer? People. So here we saw people. This is Indian point of view. I am saying this is the dominant viewpoint of Indian scholars, but there are critics also getting into the polity portion. Constitution तो इतना ही खत्म हो जाता है. There is a great scholar, British scholar, and write down his name, K.C. Weir. K.C. Weir. 20th century constitution expert. So one of the great experts of constitution, and K.C. Weir's main area of specialization was comparative constitutions. So he was a political scientist and he went for comparative study of various constitutions, and he pointed out the pros and cons of good and bad, merits and demerits of various constitutions. So K.C. Weir studied Indian constitution also, and let us see what he concluded. So write down one of the statements which is a very very prominent statement for prelims also and for mains also. 200 words में comment आ सकता है इस statement पे. तो write down, according to K.C. Weir, the notion of popular sovereignty is a myth. Myth means it is not a truth, it is a myth. Is a myth in Indian constitution. The popular sovereignty is a myth in Indian constitution. This is according to K.C. Weir. Notion of popular sovereignty is a myth in Indian constitution. Now K.C. Weir is saying something very, we are clearly declaring, rather we are shouting everywhere, that we the people adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution, supremacy of people. And what K.C. Weir is saying, just opposite. And K.C. Weir says that popular sovereignty is not a truth, it is a myth. So what is the difference between truth and myth? Truth which is really correct, and myth which is incorrect but which is portrayed as truth. So he says it is only a myth. Truth is something different. What is the truth regarding Indian constitution? So first of all he says that popular sovereignty is not a truth, it is a myth, it is incorrect. Preamble to the constitution or the whole constitution does not owe its authority from people. तो कौन इसका source है? Who is the source of authority? Weir says, rich and educated. Rich and educated are the source of authority. Something again very unique. And K.C. Weir further writes in his book that the framers of Indian constitution were intellectually not honest. कह रहा बेईमान था. कौन? And see, K.C. Weir is not a politician. Argument. So we'll see his argument also कि इतनी बड़ी बात कैसे, how K.C. say this, but he has a valid argument. That argument also I will put forward and I will contradict that also, so that in 200 words we could write this whole debate. But let us first see that K.C. Weir is saying something very radical. Rather I can say that K.C. Weir is trying to shake the foundation of this constitution. उसी को उखाड़ देगा. If it is proven that constitution owes its genesis to rich and educated, that K.C. Weir is saying. K.C. Weir is saying that they were dishonest. The framers of the constitution were not honest intellectually. Had they been honest, then they would have written in the preamble, we the rich and educated persons of India, solemnly XYZ, adopt, enact and give, then it would have been a correct expression. तो कहते क्या लिखना चाहिए? हम भारत के धनी और शिक्षित लोग adopt, तो then it would have been correct. Honestly speaking, this is the thing. But when they wrote the people, then it is completely false, it is myth. 200 words, it is a VVI statement. So what is the statement? Popular sovereignty is a myth. In prelims also, who has questioned the notion of popular sovereignty? K.C. Weir. Let us see what is the argument of K.C. Weir, because I am again saying that K.C. Weir is not prejudiced to us. Oh, he is not like Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill had described Constituent Assembly as means. जब Constituent Assembly पढ़ाऊंगा, then all those comments will come. So Winston Churchill was the British leader. He did not want India to get freedom. But when actually India got freedom and Constituent Assembly was framed, so he was a frustrated person. Frustrated हो गया कि उसका निकल गया country. So Churchill told them, what is this assembly? This is an assembly of Brahmins. So Churchill's view can be understood that it is a frustration. But Bengal famine, no, that is not. Yes, something else is the reason. But K.C. Weir is not a politician. K.C. Weir is a genuine scholar. And he has criticized many of the constitutions, and his criticisms are taken respectfully in all the countries because he is talking completely as an academician. So let us see what is his argument. He has a valid argument. So let us understand. Now let me put it like this. I am teaching you that preamble owes its source to the people. Our constitution supports popular sovereignty, and somehow K.C. Weir's soul, क्योंकि K.C. Weir तो dead है, तो his soul is passing by. Indians believe in immortality of soul, तो soul जा रहा है K.C. Weir का. Listens to this, gets angry, comes to me, asks, why are you teaching lie to your students that Indian constitution is solemnly resolved, whatever I told you, adopt, enact and give to, therefore it is popular sovereignty. Then we say, no, this is a myth. This you have been taught in a wrong way. Then we will ask, then Weir, tell us Mr. Weir, tell us the truth. Then he will say rich and educated. Then we will ask how. So let us see how he will explain. So Weir will say that the Constitution of India was framed by the Constituent Assembly. We will say yes, you are correct. Now let us see how K.C. Weir will put forward, and you should make the chart side by side. जहाँ डिक्टेशन होगा वहाँ डिक्टेशन भी देंगे, बट डू रिमेंबर दैट एवरीथिंग डिक्टेशन विल मेक द क्लास बोरिंग, मजा नहीं आएगा, इसको समझना है, अंडरस्टैंड इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड आई विल गिव यू everything is dictated, then what is the meaning of a class? Constitution. Now let us see what Weir will say. Weir will say that which institution your constitution was framed. So we will say that our constitution, Constituent Assembly. Weir will say fine, and we will also say fine, Constituent Assembly. We will ask you the second question. From where the members of this Constituent Assembly came? How this Constituent Assembly was formed? ये कैसे बना था? From where the member? Now we all know that our Constituent Assembly was formed on the basis of the recommendations of Cabinet Mission. When I will be discussing Constitution, our Constituent Assembly was formed on the basis of the recommendations of Cabinet Mission. 1946 में Cabinet Mission आया था. On the recommendations of that. And let us see what was the mode of formation of Constituent Assembly according to Cabinet Mission. So Cabinet Mission provided that the Constituent Assembly formed by direct election. Now there are two concepts, direct election and indirect election. So I know that you know this, but I have already told that I will start from zero, taking care that some students. So let us see what is direct election and what is indirect, but I know that most of you know this. Direct election means when people directly vote and elect their representatives. People themselves vote and elect their representatives. For example, present day India. The election to Lok Sabha and election to Vidhan Sabha, that is a direct election. In held. Who voted? People, adult people. सबने जाके वोट डाल दिया ईवीएम पे, and then people are elected. Similarly, Lok Sabha elections direct. So that is direct election, when people themselves vote and elect the representative. But there is another mode of election also, that is called indirect election. What is indirect election? In indirect election, people first of all elect their representative, and then their representative elect somebody else. That is called indirect election. For example, election of the President of India is indirect election. Why? Because we do not vote in the presidential election. Who vote in the presidential election? Our MPs and MLAs. So first we elect MP and MLA, and then our MPs and MLA elect the president. So that is an indirect election, where people themselves do not elect the body. So our constituent was not constituted by direct election, but it was constituted by indirect election. Why? Because at that time it was not possible to conduct elections at that mass level. So they decided that the Constituent Assembly shall be formed by indirect election. So there is also no problem. Indirect election is also election. So here we will say that Mr. Weir, it was formed through indirect election. Now the Weir will ask you next question. Okay, fine. It was constituted through indirect election. Then indirect election, who voted? Then the fact says that members of provincial legislature. Members of provincial legislature. Now what is provincial legislature? Today we also have provinces, province of Punjab, Haryana, UP, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, etc. That is province, state. And today also we have legislature. So MLA. So just in layman's word, we can that time. उस टाइम के जो MLA थे, they elected members constituent assembly. Most of the members were elected in that way. Some were nominated also, but most of the members were elected by the members of provincial legislature. In other words, most of the members of the constituent assembly were elected by the MLAs of that time. So till here it is fine. ठीक है, हमने नहीं चुना, हमारे MLA ने चुन लिया. But further, we will ask, till here it is fine. Now you tell, who elected these MLAs? MLA को किसने elect किया? Who elected these members of provincial? Now, today we have universal adult suffrage. What is universal adult suffrage or franchise? Universal adult suffrage means all the adult citizens, irrespective of their religion, race, caste, sex, education or economic status, they have the right to cast their vote. So today we have this. In the elections, rich, poor, educated, uneducated, every adult person casts his vote. That is called universal adult suffrage. Universal. But this is the contribution of our constitution. The constitution which was enacted on 26th January 1950, that constitution provided for universal adult suffrage. But during British days, that constitution was not there. So during British days, our state was ruled by Government of India Act 1935, remember. And that Government of India Act 1935 did not provide for universal adult suffrage. So the Britishers had established a democracy in India, but not the true democracy. All adults did not have the right to vote. So right to vote was limited to two types of persons. A minimum education. That means all could not vote. All could not vote during elections, during British period. Who could vote? Who had some educational degree, and that was time to time notified by the government. So educated persons only could vote. Only those could vote who had a fixed annual income. What will be that income? That was again to be decided time to time by the government. As a result, only educated and only rich had the voting right during British period. More precisely speaking, only those classes like capitalists, like jamindars, like jagirdars, matlab rich, like professors, like doctors, professionals, matlab this type of class, only they had right to vote, and they were almost only 10% of total population. Only 10% people had right to vote, and they were rich and educated. That means the farmers of this country did not have voting right. The workers of this country did not have voting right. Only rich and educated had voting right. Now you can get into the depth of Weir's argument. Weir is not Winston Churchill. He is not criticizing you with a prejudice. He is putting forward a fact. And this is his argument. So he is saying constitution was framed by Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly was constituted by indirect election. Indirect means people did not elect. Then who elected? Provincial legislature. And who elected the members of provincial legislature? Rich and educated. That the members of Constituent Assembly were not the representatives of farmers of this country, were not the representatives of workers of this country, were not the representatives of poor and uneducated of this country. They only were the representatives of rich and educated. Therefore, we are saying the members of Constituent Assembly of India did not have that we the people of India, because they were not working on the behalf of we the people. What at the most they could have written, had they been honest, they could have written, we the rich and educated persons of India, XYZ, adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution, then it would have been correct. And therefore we are saying, popular sovereignty is a myth. And popular sovereignty is a myth in the Constitution of India. It is not a truth. Now you see, a very convincing argument. And you will say, first day this teacher has what? कंट्रोल वेलकम में जैसे उदय शेट्टी ने कहा कंट्रोल और जैसे कहा था कि पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. सो सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ द कॉइन इज येट टू कम. बट फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ ए क्वेश्चन इन द मेंस एग्जाम कम्स, popular sovereignty is a myth in the Constitution of India, comment KC Weir, then our answer shall have two parts, remember. First part will be Weir's argument. Always note it, that written exam, this is the way of answer writing, written exam is the test of two things. First, your facts and knowledge, and second, your opinion also, what type of person you are. So in the first part, obviously, Weir's argument is wrong, then you have not shown your knowledge. Knowledge भी दिखाना है, it is written exam इसलिए तो. So in the first part of your answer, you will put forward why KC Weir says this, and the chart that I have made in the words this can be written, जो हमने बताया कि constitution, so why KC Weir says this. But in the second part, you must put forward your view. What is our view, our comment, because comment is required from us. Do you agree? We will say that Weir is saying this, but always remember, in the civil services exam, we can criticize the policies of government, no problem. It must be constructive. It must be fact and logic based, government. But we can suggest certain reforms in the constitution also. Reform भी suggest कर सकते हैं. But we can never support that view which makes the very foundation of the constitution. जो constitution को काटने view point is to be. Why? Because as a civil servant, you will take the oath of protecting this constitution, enforcing this constitution. And if in your answer you say Weir's argument, what it reflects? It reflects that you do not have faith in your own constitution. You believe that it is a rich constitution, it is an educated constitution, person's constitution. And if you believe like that, how would you be enforcing it? How you would have allegiance to this constitution? Therefore, whenever the basic foundations of constitution are concerned, we must support our constitution. And whenever we are supporting, we must have logic also. We must have arguments. So first part we already discussed. First part. So this first part is to be written by yourself. That means I want to, I can dictate the whole answer also. But I will dictate the second part so that you get how to write, the way of writing. And first part you have to practice yourself. I have already explained. So what you will write? That Weir formulates was framed by the Constituent Assembly. इसी chart. Constituent Assembly was not formed by direct election, rather it was formed by indirect election. In that indirect election, it was the members of the Constituent Assembly were elected by the members of provincial legislature. And the members of provincial legislature were elected by educated and rich person because at that time, we did not have universal adult suffrage. And voting right was limited to educated and rich. And therefore, Weir says that popular sovereignty is a myth. This shall be the first part. Now, we have to counter this argument. We have to reject this argument. So let us see, and we have to reject with the help of arguments. So let us see what are the arguments against Weir's view. So first part, now write down the second part. And in the answer, don't write this word, our view. ये मैं आपको help करने के लिए, but answer में ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए our view. This is not. Just start writing. जो यूपीएससी का आंसर होगा उसमें our view ये सब वर्ड नहीं लिखा जाता है. This is only to make you understand that what is your view. So write down second part. Second part में dictate करवा रहा हूं. Weir's view or Weir's formulations are incorrect. You have to conclusively say it is incorrect. Oh, ये नहीं कि if but नहीं. Directly say it is incorrect. Weir's formulations are incorrect. Weir's formulations are because are incorrect and they are not supported. Question is, ये question मैंने पहले ही आपको बता दिया है. Popular sovereignty is a myth in the Constitution of India. So write down the second part. First part तो मैंने समझा दिया. Weir's formulations are incorrect and they are not supported by relevant facts and they are not supported by relevant facts and arguments. Relevant facts and arguments. Indian Constitution is based on the notion of popular sovereignty because now we are countering it. We इसको counter कर रहे हैं. Indian Constitution is based on the notion of popular sovereignty. Indian Constitution is based on the notion of popular sovereignty because though the members of Constituent Assembly though the members of Constituent Assembly were directly not elected by the people, though the members of the Constituent Assembly were directly not elected by the people, on the basis of universal adult franchise or suffrage, एक ही चीज, were not directly elected by the people, basis of universal adult suffrage, SUFFRAGE, या franchise भी लिख सकते हैं, universal, but still were the representatives of people, but still they were the representatives of people. This was proved in 1952, भी हो गया कि वो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव थे. This was proved in 1952 when first general election took place. This was proved in 1952 when first general election took place. First general election took place in India. First general elections took place in India on the basis of universal adult suffrage. First general election took place in India in 1952 on the basis of universal adult suffrage. Universal adult suffrage. In this election, most of the members, barring few, most of the members were directly elected people of India. Were directly elected by the people of India. Most of the members were elected by the people of India, which proves that they were the true representatives of people of India. Which proves that they were the true representatives of people of India. Which proves that they were the true representatives of people of India. People of India. So now you see the first argument, how we are countering K.C. Weir. We are countering K.C. Weir in the sense, K.C. Weir says that our people did not elect. But we are saying yes, our people did not elect because people did not have the right to elect. उनको आपने right दिया? नहीं दिया. So how they could elect? When people got the right to elect in 1952, then using their adult suffrage, universal adult suffrage, same people of India elected same representatives. This shows that they were the true representatives of India. In 1946 cabinet mission, they were not given a chance to prove their popularity. So how could they have proven? You do not give people the right to elect them and you say that they are not the representatives of people. Then this is ridiculous. But when you gave people of India right to elect them, then people of India showed their faith in them. Yes, had they not been elected in 52 elections, then Weir's allegations would have been proven to be true. But in 1952 elections, when people of India, almost most of them were elected by the people of India, that shows that they were the true representatives of India, and Weir's argument is only a game of words. It is only a game of words because he is only going through the technical matters. He is not going to the spirit of the matter. And what is the spirit of the matter? What is the soul of this whole thing? That they were Nehru was the true representative. Rajendra Prasad and all were the true representatives of people. People loved them. But people did not have the mechanism to express their love. उसको वोट देने का right ही नहीं है तो कैसे सिद्ध होगा? And when people got that mechanism in 1952 elections, then they showed their overwhelmingly supported them. So that is the first argument. I hope you got this. So this first argument you have to write, then write second argument, one more argument. If some words are still left, तो K.C. Weir को पहला जवाब हम ये देंगे कि Weir, we listen to you. Now please listen to us. That they are indirectly elected. They are rich and educated. Now listen to us. Your countrymen who ruled us, Britishers, you are also Britishers, give us right to elect them. How could we elect them? And when our people were given opportunity, right to elect, then they actually elected. So that shows that they were popular. Yes, there was no means to prove that popularity. Then write down second. ये clear हो रहा है first argument? Just tell me. Is it clear? Is the first argument clear? Then I will proceed to second. Clear हो रहा है? तब तक पानी पी लूं. Is this first argument clear? Yes. Now the comments have come. अच्छा comment आने में I think 10-20 seconds. Yes. So very good. First argument is clear. All clear with your helps. Thanks. And it is not my help. It is your understanding capability that makes it clear. But otherwise, मैं कितना भी समझाऊं अगर आप तो this is your credit also and some credit also I have to take. But yes. So now let us come to second argument. Clear. Now first argument ये हमें देना second और कैसे wear को. So we will say that where are you satisfied? तो satisfied है. फिर भी कहेगा कि do you have something more to convince? Then we will say yes. Listen one more argument. Listen one more argument which will 100% make you answerless, speechless. तब wear आप चले जाओगे यहाँ से. ये मानते हो कि yes I was wrong. So let us see the second argument. Write down. Second argument मैं लिखवा रहा हूँ. Indian Constitution adopts a democratic form of government. Indian Constitution adopts a democratic form of government. But K.C. Weir had some logic during 50 and 52. तो 50 and 52 के बीच में, but today we are talking that his logic was wrong. We got satisfied. This was the most simplistic explanation. And again, the same constituent assembly members were elected. Yes, that is the true. विकास get it. फिर से इसको समझिए विकास की क्यों कह रहे. Weir कह रहा है कि all people did not elect them. Then all people did not elect because there was no universal elected suffrage. So people could not elect them. But when in 1952 people got an opportunity, then they elected. So what does this fact prove? It proves that the members of Constituent Assembly were truly the representatives of people. Why? Because in 1952 they got support of people. The second argument, write down. Second argument, when it was adopted preamble, already we have these things in the beginning of the class, how preamble adopted. So you can see this. इसी लेक्चर का आप शुरुआत देख लेंगे. I think you have joined. Everything we saw. कि कब है वो objective everything. Now let us write the second very important argument. Indian Constitution adopts a democratic form of government. Indian Constitution adopts a democratic form of government. तो Weir को हम second बात ये कहेंगे. Adopts a democratic form of government. Then write down popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty is a precondition. Popular is a precondition for democracy. Popular sovereignty is a precondition for democracy. And this also proves that Indian Constitution is based on popular sovereignty. This also proves that Indian Constitution is based on the notion of popular sovereignty. This also proves the Constitution is based on the notion of popular sovereignty. Now, what is the second argument? ये सामने खड़ा हो जाए, मेरे से argue करे. A British professor argues with a professor of Delhi University. So, for 1.5 decades I have taught there. So, दो professors में argument हो जाए. So, what I would say that Mr. Weir first argument was this. Let us please listen to my second argument. What is second argument? I will say that Weir, do you accept that the Indian Constitution prescribes for a democratic form of government? The Weir says yes. In the preamble also we have the word democracy. We have parliament, we have election, everything, whatever is the component democracy, everything we have. So Weir has to agree. We'll say yes. Indian Constitution supports a democratic form of government. We'll say well. Then I will again ask Weir, then Weir, what is democracy? Then Weir will say ruled by the people, of the people, for the people. Then we will say, does it mean popular sovereignty, that people are supreme in democracy? Then we will say yes, democracy means people are supreme. So if Indian Constitution has democracy as a form of government, then can any democracy exist without popular sovereignty? So Weir कहेगा नहीं, democracy cannot exist without popular sovereignty. That means popular sovereignty is a precondition for any democratic form of government. And if we have democracy as a form of government in our constitution, that means even we mention it or not, we the people लिखना चाहे नहीं लिखना, नहीं होता we the people word, then also the presence of the feature of democracy makes it very clear that people in India are sovereign, supreme. Why? Because it is a democracy. And in democracy, popular sovereignty has to be there. So Weir will again be convinced, yes, you have democracy. So in this way, finally, what will be our conclusion? That Weir's formulations are wrong. An Indian Constitution is based on the notion of popular sovereignty. So this is first thing in the preamble. Now let us see how preamble can be discussed, and each and every word will be explained by me with such elaboration. So now let us come to preamble पे आ जाते हैं कि फर्स्ट चीज हमने preamble का पढ़ लिया. Let us come to this chart. So first thing we discuss source of authority and debate related to this. Now let us come to second. This may take 2 days, 3 days क्योंकि 5 बड़े concepts हैं. So now we will discuss nature of authority, and we will be now discussing each and every word. What is sovereign? Is India sovereign today? Such issues. Socialist. What is Indian socialism? Secular, democratic, republic. Each and every word we are going to discuss. So first thing we discuss today, source of authority. Now give the heading nature of authority. Now give the heading nature of authority, and nature of authority within that. First we will start with the word sovereign. So let us see what is sovereign or what is sovereignty. Now do see the spellings, English medium students. SOVEREIGNTY, but it is not pronounced as sovereignty. मत कह देना, j is silent. Sovereignty. इंटरव्यू में sovereignty बोल देंगे तो कुछ नंबर कट जाएंगे. So what is sovereignty? But we have today SOVEREIGNTY. So first is sovereign. So let us see what is sovereign or what is sovereignty. So first write its definition. इसकी definition लिखते हैं. A sovereign country is that country. A sovereign country is that country which has the right to take independent decisions. A sovereign country is that country right to take independent decisions both in its internal external matters. Both in its internal and external matters. A sovereign country is that country which has the right to take independent decisions both in internal and external matters. Sovereignty means supremacy, to take decisions independently and both in internal and external matters. Now for example, you have to remember only this one line. As I always tell the students that our brain, our limited space उसको metaphorically लेना है. मुझे नहीं पता कितना space है. That means 25 liter bucket, and if the capacity is 25 liters, then you can put only 25 liters here. Now some are superhumans, Vivekanand ho, that is, but we are not Vivekanand, and we are not Ramanujam, and we are not such extraordinary. We are liters. तो कोई बहुत एक्सपेंड करेगा तो 30 लीटर्स हो जाएगा, वो थोड़ा सा जीनियस होगा. कोई 35 इतना ही पानी रखना है बकेट में. Now it is up to us that what type of water we have to keep it there, what type of facts we have to put here. Everything we cannot remember. That is correct, because only polity is not the end of this life. You have economy also, you have also history also, stake also. Remember what? Then optional also, essay also. कितनी चीजें. So the policy of remembering everything doesn't work in UPSC. Yes, we have to remember something. 25 लीटर है तो थोड़ा बहुत उसमें तो we will remember this definition of one line. What definition? इसको जरूर याद करेंगे. Sovereignty is the right both in its internal and external matters. This much we will remember. This is very much possible. इतना तो याद कर सकता है. But we must have the capability to elaborate this one line in 200 words, and that comes from understanding. Once we understand this one line in totality, in extension, then it would be very easy for us to write. जैसे हमने देखा कि वो 4 लाइन केवल था Constituent Assembly, so we can write. So let us now explain this one line. कि अगर ये 200 words में आ जाए, what is sovereignty? 200 words. तो one line का definition वो होगा कि it is the right of a country to take independent decisions both in internal and external matters. Then in what we will explain what is internal matters. और ये हमें समझना है केवल. ये हमारे माइंड में, ये इतना याद नहीं कर सकते. So internal, think what can be the internal sphere of decision making. क्या क्या internal मोदी जी decision लेता है. So political decisions, we will make this point. The government of India, economic, और क्या, social issues. Then we will give example of each. That means what type of political arrangements shall be there in the country. Country can tell us. Now, let us take one example. America is a sovereign state. Each state is sovereign. America is a sovereign. What happened yesterday? All we saw in the on the television screen. 4 persons killed. And in the country which is considered to be a great democracy. Democracy, they are proud. Britishers, Americans. Britain is considered to be the mother of democracy. But America is the second oldest democracy in modern world. So, इतना बड़ा democratic country, more than 200 years of tradition of democracy, 1776. More than 200 years of democratic tradition. What happened yesterday? You saw that peaceful transfer of power. That is the beauty of democracy. Bloodshed नहीं चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं कि when Jahangir will die, then Shahjahan, Khurram और बेटों की democracy. And when Shahjahan, then Aurangzeb और दारा सिखों के बीच लड़ाई, that is not democracy. Democracy is the beauty is without any bloodshed, without any violence, the transfer of power takes. So Manmohan would give to Modi. Modi would give to someone. That is democracy. But what happened in America? Trump and his supporters somehow are not ready to give up. You are defeated in the election. So democracy requires that you have to surrender. Last में कल ट्रंप ने बोला कि yes, on 20th January the peaceful transfer of power will take place. That was the pressure. But बीच में क्या किया? ट्रंप ने ट्वीट कर दिया सबको. So that is. Now, for example, this is a crisis in America. This is a great crisis in America, where a country which is known for its democratic values, and there is a question mark on that democracy worldwide. Then our Modi ji also एक statement इन्होंने भी दे दिया कि there must be peaceful transfer of power and this type of things should not take place. तो ठीक है, एक preaching मार दिया, मोदी को भी करना था. That was done. But America is a sovereign country, remember, and no country has the right to interfere there. Still, whatever is going on between Donald Trump and Biden, that is the internal matter of America, internal political crisis. Now, if China tries to interfere, why undemocratic things, or India tries to interfere, why democracy is at stake in America, then all the Americans there will be united. It is the requirement of sovereignty. Then Modi, shut up. This is our internal matter. We will resolve it. If Trump is doing something wrong, then he shall be punished according to American law. Impeachment shall take place according to American constitution. American judiciary will look after the issue. He shall be put into jail. Sedition, आपने देखा. Joe Biden never invited any internal. He said this is a crisis. And this is sedition, this is XYZ, and it will be dealt according to the provisions of American Constitution. This is sovereignty. That whatever political, that means what type of political form government we will have, none of the countries, for example, same crisis occurs in India. आप कह सकते हैं कि अमेरिका तो सबका बॉस है, तो who will interfere? But for example, Modi and his supporters do not want to give up. For example, in election they are defeated, but यही चीज हो जाए, सब पार्लियामेंट को घेर ले, then what will happen? And if America says that now we will interfere for the sake of democracy, then all of we are sovereign. This is an internal crisis. This will be resolved by our judiciary. If there is problem, then our people will respond to it. Foreigners not. So first we have to explain what type of political system we will have. What shall be the mode of election of president? Who shall be the prime minister? What shall be the mode of distribution of political offices? None of the foreigner or external body can tell us. This is all because of us. Second point will be economic. Whether we would have GST or not. What shall be the taxation system? Whether there will be grants for poor or not. This all will be decided by social. What type of social laws we will have? Whether there will be untouchability or not. Whether there will be caste system or not. Whether there will be reservation or not. All this shall be decided by our constitution, our judiciary, our people. And foreigners do not have the right to interfere. So this is internal. Then external aspect we will explain in terms of foreign policy. That means externally also. Sovereignty means the right to choose one's friend and foes. अपने दोस्त और दुश्मन चुनने का अधिकार हर देश को है. So which countries are our friendly countries, friends, and which countries are our none other country can decide than India. For example, India has good relations with Russia, Israel, Palestine, सबके साथ good है. Even China, if it goes with good terms. America cannot say that why you are at good terms with China. We'll say yes, we are sovereign. This is our external matter. Similarly, to declare war and peace, this also comes under external sovereignty. So I think in 200 words we can explain it like this. Polity में ऐसे सवाल नहीं आएंगे. What is comes? Then remember online definition. Yes, North Korea is a sovereign state. Why not? North state is a sovereign state, and therefore North Korea is carrying its own nuclear program. Now, to what extent practically it can exercise, that is a different thing. But North Korea में किम को जो करना है कर रहा है. So that is a sovereign. Sovereignty is always with respect to external power. Internally एक dictatorship भी sovereign हो सकता है. Yes, popular sovereignty नहीं है. Korea doesn't have popular sovereignty, but it has sovereignty. State is sovereign. So internal, external. So this is what is sovereignty. Now write one question. यहाँ से एक issue है वो आता है. Write down one question related to this sovereignty. The notion of sovereignty has become irrelevant. The notion of sovereignty has become irrelevant. The notion of sovereignty has irrelevant today, and hence the preambular means preamble से word निकला है preambular, and hence preambular means something that is related to preamble, and hence the preambular ideal. So the ideal of preamble, so preambular ideal, and hence the preambular ideal of sovereignty must be dropped off, and hence the preambular ideal of sovereignty must be dropped off from our constitution, and hence the preambular ideal of sovereignty must be dropped off from our constitution, full stop, and then comment. That means what is the question here? The ideal of sovereignty has become irrelevant today worldwide, and India is also not sovereign, and therefore why to keep the word sovereign? Drop कर दो, amend कर दो, खत्म कर दो, and you have to comment. Now when such questions are asked, then again we have to formulate our answer in two parts. Two parts में answer होगा. First we always show our knowledge. Why this is said? That means why today we say that sovereignty has become irrelevant. Obviously the argument will come from WTO. It is said that we are internally and externally free to take all decisions, but practically what happens? World Trade Organizations, and we have to go by the policies of WTO in many respects. What shall be the maximum upper limit of custom duty? Custom duty when from one country something comes to other country. अमेरिका से टेलीविजन इंडिया में बिकने के लिए आया तो border पर जो टैक्स लगता है that is custom duty. So according to WTO it has to be fixed. So our government wants to increase it but cannot. Not a sovereign country. Similarly, various other organizations influences. So in the light of that, if a question comes, to what extent we are sovereign, whether we are sovereign or not, or should it be removed? So first we will mention why this is said, why it is said that sovereignty is not relevant, and then will come our view. Still sovereign, and we'll give arguments. तो पहले इधर का argument, फिर इधर का argument. Yes, we are still sovereign, and these are the reasons. So write down the first part. Why portion, why it is said that we are not sovereign, or why it is said that it is dropped off. So write down. In today's globalized world, now we are writing the first part. In today's globalized world, global consciousness regarding certain issues, global consciousness regarding certain issues have global consciousness regarding some issues has been created, full stop. The issues of environment, issues like environment, terrorism, environment, terrorism, nuclear weapons are treated as global issues, and practically are treated as global issues, and practically no country can take, independent decisions. No country can take independent decisions in these matters. No country can take independent decisions in these matters. So what is the first argument why the idea of sovereignty has become irrelevant? Sovereignty means taking independent decisions everywhere, internal, external, everywhere. But today, we are in a world where there is a worldwide consciousness, worldwide awareness regarding certain issues like environment. Now, environment, comments are not very important, but I cannot see your comment. आपका कमेंट मुझे दिख नहीं रहा है, उसमें केवल हाई कमेंट है. सो एनीवे कमेंट दिख नहीं रहा आपका संदीप, बट एनीवे कमेंट एक बार पढ़ दीजिए सर. आपका कमेंट मुझे दिख ही नहीं रहा है, मैंने बहुत सारा देखा, केवल एक हाई का कमेंट है. सो लेट अस सी व्हाट इज द कमेंट. तो आएगा तो पढ़ देंगे. एनीवे लेट अस कम टू दिस इशू. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इशू. व्हाई इंडिया इज नॉट सॉवरेन, दैट वी आर डिस्क्राइबिंग. सो इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड certain issues like the issue of environment, and this issue of environment is being treated as a global issue. It is beyond a national issue. It is not a national issue, beyond national control, and it is widely believed that global warming, remember those concepts of warming, ozone, this is not going to affect one country. This is going to affect the whole world, whole humanity. So if an environmental takes place, restrict, the impact will not be restricted to China only. The impact will come to India also. And therefore, today we know that the world community agrees country can have its separate environmental policy. For example, if India decides, if Modi statement that all the trees shall be cut down in India so that we could have sufficient land and so that we could have factories, for example, then global community will suddenly respond. Suddenly Joe Biden will or Donald Trump will call Modi. Modi, what are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And Modi would say, we are sovereign. See this preamble. Then keep this aside. Environment is a global issue. You cannot really, because if you cut your trees, then it will damage the whole world. So practically, this cannot happen. Terrorism. If some country want to give a other countries won't let them do this. Why? Because terrorists who will be graduated from there and post-graduated and those who will be trained from there, they will be a threat to world peace. Therefore, a country like Pakistan, it definitely runs the terrorist camp. We all know, Indians know. But Pakistan never accepts. It only says, no, we are not running any terrorist camp. Because publicly, no country, because it is a global issue. Terrorists are nurtured in one country, but they will not be disturbing that country only. They will be a threat to world peace. Nuclear weapon. So these issues are considered to be taken to be global issues, and in global issue we cannot take independent decision. That is a loss of sovereignty. Then second point, right down. In today's world, the policies of every country, including India. In today's world, including India, the policies of every country, including India, is directly or indirectly decided by institutions like WTO, World Bank and IMF, International Monetary Fund. World Bank, IMF, like WTO, IMF, World Bank, we all know that. When IMF gives us loan, then it has certain conditions attached. You have to do this. अभी पाकिस्तान को लोन दिया तो कहा कि डिवैल्यूएशन. So how can we say that we are sovereign? Sovereign means take independent economic decisions. We cannot take. So this shall be the first part of our answer. Why it is said that sovereignty is facing threats. So these are the reasons. Now let us see what should be our viewpoint, the second part. So change the paragraph. Write down. But today also, India can be described a sovereign state by and large. 100% नहीं, लेकिन by and large. India can be described WTO, IMF, World Bank. Institutions named WTO, IMF, World Bank. Loan by IMF, whoever applies, most of the countries get. Whoever will apply will sanction IMF, World Bank, it offers loan. So, by and large, it is sovereign. Why? So, write down first. Barring some exceptions, and in bracket you can write global issues. So, barring these few global issues like terrorism, etc. Barring some exceptions, India still has the right. India still has the right to take independent decisions. India still has the right to take independent decisions in most of the matters. India still has the right to take independent decisions in most of the matters. So one may say that environment and terrorism etc. they are exceptional issues. तो चार जगह पे हमने independent पे लिया. So whether we will go by 4 or we will go by 96, we will go by 96. So at most of the places we are taking independent decisions. So these global issues can be treated to be exceptions to this. We are by and large sovereign. This is first argument. Second, as far as WTO, IMF or World Bank is concerned, now let us come to this argument. As far as WTO, IMF or World Bank is concerned, as far as WTO, IMF or World Bank is concerned, India goes by or India goes by their directives. India goes by their directives, India follows their directives, goes by their directives because India has voluntarily taken the membership of these institutions. India has voluntarily, अच्छा से बलपूर्वक नहीं, India has voluntarily taken the membership of these countries, and it has the right, India has the right, and it has the right to surrender the membership also. कभी भी छोड़ सकता है WTO, no foundation. It has the right to surrender the membership also. Therefore, this is not a barrier. This is not a barrier for sovereignty. Therefore, this is not a barrier for sovereignty. So let us see what is the second argument from our side. Here it was said कि WTO XYZ. Yes, we go by that. But we go by that only because we have voluntarily taken the membership of WTO. No one has forced us, and no one can force us. No country can force us. America cannot force us to take the membership of WTO. We have voluntarily taken. And in terms of profit and loss, we saw that at some places we are in loss, but at some places we are in profit, and generally we are in profit. So let us take the membership. And if you take the membership, then of course you have to go by certain rules and regulations. That means, just take one example. If you become the member of Indian cricket team, then you have to follow certain regulations. That at the time of fielding you have to be in the field. At the time of batting you have to be on the pitch. Now if somebody says that, oh, I will, but batting करने के लिए भेज दिया. This is against sovereignty, against my will. You were not forced to join the Indian cricket team. You voluntarily accepted it. And if you want to exercise your sovereignty, leave Indian cricket team and go and sleep. That means, had it been a binding membership, they must have violated our sovereignty, but it is a voluntary. Just take one more example, simpler example. We come for this class, this morning class I am talking of 9 to 11. So this is morning time, this is winter's morning. Somebody might thinking, many of you might be thinking कि आज कितनी ठंड है, let us take रजाई, उसमें कॉफी हो, उसमें न्यूज़पेपर हो, सामने टेलीविजन पे अमेरिका का चल रहा हो, and that will be the true life. Now, why to go for this class? And I also might be thinking in the same direction कि पकौड़े भी होते, रजाई होता, अमेरिकन क्राइसिस चल रहा था, I could have been thinking and delivering this lecture. And I also say, this is against my sovereignty. So you are also saying that this class is against your sovereignty. I am also saying that this class is against my sovereignty. For example, so we will say none of them is free. Neither the students are free nor the teacher is free. Why? Because both are doing against their will. कि मुझे भी यहाँ खड़ा होना पड़ रहा है अपनी will के against. No, that is a wrong perception. Nobody has forced me to stand here at 9 o'clock. It is my willful decision. It is my voluntary decision due to some reasons. I don't want to explain that, but you all know what is the motive behind that, what is the guiding motivational force behind that. So something has motivated me to be there. Similarly, something has motivated you also. You know that these 2 hours of class can make your life, and 2 hours of sound sleep can spoil your life. That means both of us have voluntarily decided, and the day you feel That day will never come. But just for example, I say, the day you feel that this class is boring, that day will never come. Remember, each day the class will become more interesting. Have faith in me. अभी थोड़ा थोड़ा आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूँ पॉलिटी से, पॉलिटी के टॉप पे ले जाऊंगा, वेयर यू विल बी एबल टू टॉक टू एनी ग्रेट स्कॉलर. पीएचडी वाले से बात करोगे पॉलिटी पे. दैट इज माई प्रॉमिस. सो ग्रेजुअली वी आर मूविंग इन दैट डायरेक्शन. सो you feel that this class will leave attending, and the day that this is not better, so I can leave. So both of us are sovereign. That is the relationship of India and WTO. Had it been a binding membership, then it would have violated. That means it has joined WTO voluntarily. It can leave voluntarily. But if you join, then certain conditions are to be attached. So finally, we must say that India is still a sovereign country by and large, by and large. And therefore, the preambular notion of sovereignty need not be dropped. So here, first thing that we developed, that we discussed is, remember, अभी क्या कर रहे हैं? Nature of, and here we discussed first thing, sovereign. After that, we list in much detail what is Indian socialism, then secular, democratic, each word we will be discussing with the same. But I think today we cannot discuss because already it is 11, 10 minutes we have extended. 2 घंटे निकल गए, सवा 2 घंटे. Anyway, so let us stop today, and tomorrow same time 9 o'clock. 9 a.m. we will again be, and we will start with the topic socialism. So let us stop. ठीक है, तो आज रुक जाते हैं. Joining Commonwealth is our sovereign. Yes, that is all voluntary. सबका वही जवाब हो जाएगा, voluntary. What are the different form of constitution? कभी डिस्कस कर देंगे, retain, unretain, rigid. That will be discussed when comparative constitutions come. एक हमारे में टॉपिक है. So there we will be discussing. Okay. So your wonderful lecture. Thank you, Amit. Thanks everybody, and you are offering thanks to me. Wonderful class. Good. Wonderful session. So each day it will be more wonderful. Only this I can say, because I know discuss aspect. Only keep connected. We are going to discuss preamble. आपने कभी इतना डिटेल में नहीं पढ़ा होगा जितना मैं पढ़ाऊंगा. And nothing will be left. And after this, I will post a challenge that go and solve any question if it is not solved from this class. Any question, any test, and tell me whether it is solved or not. But आज नहीं, let it be completed. Yes, your knowledge. So let us end today. आज खत्म कर रहा हूँ. And tomorrow we are meeting at 9 a.m. Okay. Thank you though. Thank you, my dear friends and students. Notes, you will get notes very soon. I will talk to the management. मिल जाएगा, that is not problem. And notes and books, that is, I will dictate whatever is relevant, so that class notes will be enough. That I can promise you, the class notes. So let us meet tomorrow. Okay.